was here on a cruelly beautiful September day that the world changed. The worst terror attack in U.S. history started here in 2001, with 2 hijacked planes smashing into New York City's iconic landmark, the World Trade Center Twin Towers. Less than an hour later, another airliner pierced the symbol of American military might, the Pentagon. And then again, that same terrible day, a final hijacked flight came to a tragic end here, in this desolate field in rural Pennsylvania. 23 September 11ths later, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris marked this somber day with silence, racing to all 3 sites, meeting privately with victims' families and first responders, and listening to the litany of names, hours worth of names, read one by victims' families.
Neely Ann Heffernan Casey.
Joining them in somber silence and quieting the usual clatter of this fevered presidential campaign, presidential challenger Donald Trump and his running mate, JD Vance. They also met with families and first responders. Biden and Harris issued written statements on the tragedy. Responding to a question from VOA, the White House said the U.S. continues to take terror threats seriously.
But as for counterterrorism capability, again, we have proven time and time again that we are able to monitor the threat and deal with the threat, sometimes in near real time if need be. Not taking it for granted, not saying we don't always have to keep sharpening it, but believe me, we're focused on it.
But terrorism experts point to a growing list of hotspots, from the revitalized terror haven of Afghanistan to growing threats in West Africa.
We've seen a rise of ISIS-affiliated groups in West Africa, as well as a rise in al-Qaeda-affiliated groups in West Africa. And we've seen some West African states have adopted authoritarian tones, have taken power by force, ignoring democracy and elections. And that has resulted in the departure of countries like the United States and France, who have embraced a rule of law system to counter bad actors.
Whoever wins the White House in November, he said, will also need to look at threats much closer to home.
I've been writing about the rise of domestic extremism for the last few years, and in many ways, it's the most profound challenge the United States faces for a few reasons. First, there has been an explosion of polarization in the United States, putting politics aside, but politics is part of that polarization that we see, that has resulted in a rise, especially in the early 2020s, of groups that have neo-Nazi sympathies.
We love you so much and we miss you so much.
A whole generation of Americans has grown up since that terrifying, clarifying, clear-skied autumn day. But for the next commander-in-chief, there is never a time to breathe easy. Anita Powell, VOANews, in New York, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon.
Paul Reagan Casio.